Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another reaction and review. And this is to the 24th episode of MLP Season 7, which is Uncommon Bond. Now, I know this, I believe this focuses on Starlight Glimmer, and the reason I know that is because the thumbnail for the video file, and because I had to check the video to make sure that it worked and that the sound was good. And so, like, within the first second or two, I saw Starlight. So that's the only thing that I know about this episode. Uh, and again, that's for me having to check the video file to make sure that it works. So, without further ado, still recording. Good. Now, starting the video. This is episode 24, Uncommon Bond. I'm hoping there's going to be some Starlight and Sunburst goodness in this episode. I really hope so. Starting the video in 3, 2, 1 click.
Excuse me, when does the noon train from the Crystal Empire arrive?
Noon?
Huh, right. Sorry.
Yay!
I'm a little excited because my friend Sunburst is coming. He's my oldest friend. I mean, we've known each other practically forever.
Digimon 3!
We both love magic and games and jokes, everything, really. Now that I think about it, there isn't a pony in all of Equestria I have more in common with.
I love the music. Vinyl. Starlight, just kiss him, why don't you? Whoa. I love how there was like a sound effect that like you could hear the train outside. Hey!
Starlight?
Hug. They hugged.
Sunburst! You made it!
Of course! I've been looking forward to this visit for a long time.
Whoa, how long are you staying?
Just a little reading for the train.
Oh, this is gonna be a cute episode.
It's gonna be so great spending time together, just like old times. You and me doing the stuff we like, games, magic.
Antiquing.
What?
Antiquing. You know I like antiquing.
You do?
Of course. Historical knickknacks, ancient relics. Oh, you are so lucky.
Seriously?
Ponyville is Antique Central.
It is?
How have we never talked about this?
Because the writers never had you do it yet?
And you are gonna love it.
Okay, let's drop your stuff off at the castle first.
Sure, only...
Dude, have you been, like, taking lessons from Rarity or something? Okay, first off, excited. Starlight is freaking adorable. And it's so cute that she was looking so forward to hanging out with Sunburst. I love that aspect. I love it. It's so cute. I'm really hoping that there's going to be some shipping here. I'm hoping. I'm not going to get my hopes up on that, but I'm hoping. But again, really cute. I adore this episode already. I just hope it ends well. Okay, it'll have to. Thank goodness it's a cartoon.
This is so great! Who knew I'd be the one showing you the cool sights of Ponyville?
I'm a little surprised myself.
Wow! What a difference between the hoof-molded bricks and the extruded ones, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh! Check out all these
Those are
chandeliers!
beautiful.
Sometimes the crystals
Really?
have magical properties.
Oh, that's cool. How do you... Sunburst!
Twilight!
I'm so glad you're here.
In the antique store?
In Ponyville. Starlight's really been looking forward to your visit. Though I'm glad you're in the antique store, too. I'm usually the only one.
That's crazy! Who doesn't like antiquing,
Oh boy.
right?
Right. Ooh, look! An
Wow.
ancient map of Equestria made by the mighty Helm!
Without the help of unicorn magic or Pegasus flight, the Earth ponies of the Mighty Helm were able to map the entire coast of Equestria.
Cool.
I can already see what's going on. Starlight was really looking forward to spending some time with Sunburst, but she sees that That's cute. But she sees that she doesn't really have... That there are a few things that there are a few differences with them. They may have a lot in common, but she's beginning to see that there are some differences as well between them.
You don't have to pretend to like all this stuff.
What? No, I do like it. I mean, if you like it, I like it. Besides, we've almost looked at everything, right? Oh, wow! You have got to see the Saddle Arabian vanity! This shop looked a lot smaller from the outside.
They've been taking decorating lessons from Doctor Who. It just hit me. Somebody do artwork of Sunburst as the Doctor and Starlight as the companion. It just worked. She could say that line, it looked bigger, it looked smaller on the outside.
Wow, that goes well with this ancient phoenix feather quill. We could write to each other.
Oh, cute.
I really like this old-timey barrel.
Actually, the stuff I bought is inside the barrel, but I can't wait to see what it is.
Wait, you don't know what you bought?
It's a blind buy. Sometimes shops get too busy to go through everything, so they load up a box or barrel and sell it without knowing what's inside.
Buying one is sort
Cool.
of like a treasure hunt.
Once I found a first edition history of Equestria in the original old Ponish.
Flight for certain flight.
It's an old Ponish saying, reward prefers risk. It loses something in the translation.
Why don't we look through this stuff later?
Yeah, what do you want to do, Starlight?
Well, I don't know if you're gonna remember this, but...
Is this?
Dragon Pit! I remember that game. You two used to play it?
Pretty much any time we weren't working on magic. I can't believe you found a copy.
Oh, this is cute. This is adorable.
Sunburst would get so excited whenever his dragon got trapped, he knocked the whole board over. That's adorable.
Well, it's an exciting game, but I have a little more control over my horn now.
Ooh, snake eyes.
Uh-oh, some pony's dragon's gonna get trapped.
Oh boy.
Doesn't seem so exciting to me.
Huh. It is adorable.
I hope you're enjoying your visit so far.
Are you kidding? I mean, first antiquing, and then spending time with Twilight?
Shoot.
Oh, yeah. She's pretty great.
Right? I mean, I know she's a princess, but I know
Oh boy.
she'd be so fun to just hang out with.
Well, she is the princess
Oh boy.
of friendship.
I'm wondering what the
Right.
third act
that
conflict's
makes
going
sense.
to be.
So,
Starlight gets
tomorrow,
upset at him
I
because
suppose I'm just surprised at
he's
how
not
well we
hanging
get
out with
along.
her.
I don't have much in common with most ponies.
You two are pretty similar. I don't know many ponies who are fluent in Old Ponish.
Exactly! Oh, I probably have more in common with Twilight than any pony in Equestria.
Ow, that hurt.
Right.
Anyway, I better get some sleep. Ponyville might be small, but there's a lot to do. Maybe we should ask Twilight what she recommends we see.
Sure.
Great. Good night, Starlight.
Oh gosh, this hurts. This really hurts my heart to watch.
Knock, knock!
Oh, hi, Starlight. Is it morning already?
Nope.
Yep. Maybe a bit early, but like you said, there's a lot to see in Ponyville.
Right. Okay.
Plus, I couldn't really sleep. I just kept thinking about all the stuff we have in common and how much fun we'll have today.
Great. Is Twilight up yet?
Actually, I'm pretty sure she's busy with princess stuff
I think
today.
it's adorable and really sweet that Starlight just wants it to be her and
But
Sunburst.
I've got a full
I
day planned,
adore
just
that.
you and me.
That face.
Great. Would you mind turning around or preferably leaving the room so I could get changed?
Oh, right. Sorry.
Or she'd be probably totally fine with just staying right there.
One genuine.
She could study your gluteus maximus.
Because we used to drink so much apple juice as bowls?
I don't remember that.
Really? I mean, it was all we drank. Here, try an apple. I bet that'll jog your memory. Oh, ow.
Trixie?
Trixie? What are you doing here?
I often seek the privacy of the orchard to practice new feats
Teacups.
of amazing. And also I fell asleep.
Oh, well, Sunburst and I were just
no.
catching up, so...
I don't suppose the two of you want to see a never-before-witnessed magical marvel?
Sure!
Oh my.
Why not?
Oh boy.
Behold, visiting friend from Starlight's past, and be amazed by the great and powerful and current best friend of Starlight, Trixie!
Oh, okay. I thought she was going to put the chain, like, around,
Give you
the
unicorn.
like, Starlight and Sunburst.
One more twist, and the great and powerful Trixie requires a little assistance.
I know this trick. There's a special link, but I could never hold the chain up long enough to find it.
That'll work.
Well, if I could do magic like that, I'd have a whole slew of new tricks at my disposal.
I always liked close-up magic, because I knew I could do it if I just practiced enough.
Oh, great. There goes the shipping fuel for that one. That's adorable. I see. That's cute. That's really freaking adorable. I really see what's going on here. Starlight was really hoping to have just some alone time with her and Sunburst, just the two of them hanging out. But she's beginning to see that Sunburst also has things in common with
Starlight,
other ponies
why didn't
too.
you tell me how much Sunburst and I had in common.
Gee, I don't know.
The mirror. Oh no.
Trixie's magic is...
Alright, the mirror pool. I can already imagine artwork of Starlight and like
This place is
2 or
pure
3
pony
or a
lore.
dozen Sunbursts.
I mean,
Yeah,
suppose
I know, I can imagine that.
I guess I shouldn't have broken the seal to get in, but you wanted to see the sights of Ponyville, right?
So, Pinkie Pie just dove
Oh
in
gosh.
and made copies of
Oh
herself?
no.
Mm-hmm. If we made copies of ourselves, we could get a year's worth of hanging out over in one day. Not that we would.
Do you hear that?
Mining.
I hope it's not a left.
It's probably Maud.
Not exactly.
It's Maud!
Maud, how did
Figured
you
it
get in
was.
here?
This cavern's actually connected to my
Oh,
What
plot
are you
convenience.
doing?
tap.
Which I'm totally fine with.
Maud isn't super chatty. I mean, you and I could
They'll have
sit
a lot in
all
common.
day, but she looks pretty busy.
Are you taking some kind of core sample?
Not exactly. I'm uncovering this section of strata for closer study. You might want to step back.
Whoa! She just discovered the nether!
I'm studying this area's metamorphic.
Foliation. Is this nice phyllite or slate? Wow, the pressure above must be pretty uniform to get the planar fabric to be this consistent.
You know about geology?
I dabble. For example, by the speleothems in this cave, I kind of figured there was another way out.
Starlight!
Because of
He's
the
intelligent.
deposits.
He knows a lot. Bang him. You got the chance. Bang him. Yes, I just said that. Wow!
Doing stage magic with Trixie, studying new rocks with Maud. You're here, so I guess you two aren't off translating some ancient old Ponish text.
What are you talking about? Why would Sunburst be doing any of that? I thought he came to Ponyville to see you.
I thought so too, but it hasn't worked out that way. When we were foals, we had more in common than any two ponies in Equestria. But now it seems like he's got more in common with my friends than he does with me.
Oh, every pony changes. But that doesn't mean there aren't still things you both like. You both love magic, right?
Magic?
Sure, you're really good at it. And Sunburst practically knows every spell that ever was.
You're right! Thanks, Twilight. You're the best!
Starlight, what happened? Maud and I found some fascinating sedimentary stratum, but when I turned to show you, you were gone.
Maud does have a way of making rocks really interesting, but I wanted to work on something a little more us.
What's this?
Just a little something I made up.
Whoa! You made up this spell? Just now?
Yeah.
Please don't tell me it's a duplication spell. Whoa!
Wow!
I know, right? But wait, there's more.
Cool, right?
Sure.
Now we can play Dragon Pit, just like we used to.
Actually, I thought we could go with Maud and...
I mean, nothing was better than just you and me playing this game when we were fools, right?
Starlight.
Do you want to be red or blue?
Starlight! I don't want to play the game at all!
What's going on in here? Nothing. I was trying to have fun doing the one thing I thought we still had in common. But I guess we don't even have that anymore.
Oh, jeez.
I don't understand. Starlight and I have known each other since we were foals, but that doesn't mean we have to be foals to hang out.
Starlight does have a tendency to overdo.
I mean, it is surprising how well I get along with all of her friends, but she and I still have tons in common.
Maybe you just need to remind her what those things are.
That's it! That's exactly what I'll do. Right after I think of them.
Uh-oh. Obviously, you and I hit it off. I am quite impressive. And we share a love for prestidigitation.
Right. And Starlight and I share a lot of things too. I just need to think of them. What else do you guys have in common?
Well, we both made not-so-great choices in the past.
Yeah.
And it's about every pony judging us, even though we've both changed and are trying hard to be better.
Yeah, we don't really have that.
I can think of something you have in common. You're both poor practice audiences.
Starlight and I don't really have a lot in common, other than feeling different from most ponies. And comedy.
Comedy?
I'm very funny.
Well, that's more than I can think of that she and I have in common.
We don't really spend that much time talking about that, though. Mostly we're just comfortable around each other.
We used to be. We did everything together. But now I'm wondering if we've spent so much time apart that we don't connect over anything anymore. And if we can't connect over anything, then maybe we're not even friends.
Well, at least it's not serious. That was a joke.
I appreciate you trying to help, Twilight, but it seems pretty clear that Sunburst and I have grown apart.
I understand.
No, I don't want this to be
I
what
feel like
happens.
that only happens if you both let it. You still want to be friends, right?
I created a spell so we could relive playing a game in our childhood home. And bodies. Right. I'm just not sure Sunburst wants to stay friends too.
I think you might be surprised.
Prepare yourself.
For the new and improved Dragon Pit!
Whoa!
We had to take out a few spaces to get to it, but you hardly missed them. Maud made the dice.
Cool.
Pumice is the lightest igneous rock. It seemed the best choice.
And I added the special effects. There's nothing like a little well-placed magic smoke.
Looks like some pony's dragon is gonna get trapped. I thought you didn't want to play this game.
Well, I didn't want to pretend to be a foal, but I know you wanted to play. I thought it'd be fun to play a version big enough for full-grown ponies. What do you think? Fun, right?
Actually, it's missing something. Now it's fun.
Siren Bonbon.
I don't know why I got so worried about us not having anything in common.
Yeah, I kind of think it doesn't matter as long as we enjoy each other's company.
And that game was certainly enjoyable.
What made it even better was getting to play it with all my friends.
Aww.
See you soon?
You bet. I want to hear if you find anything interesting in that barrel.
Trust me, Starlight. You'll be the first to know.
What? Is that connected to Star Swirl the Bearded? Is that connected to Star Swirl the Bearded, man? Okay. That is foreshadowing right there. Like, that could not be any more foreshadowing if they smacked you upside the face and said, yo, foreshadowing. Alright, I really love this episode. I really do. It was a very cute, very, very sweet episode. And it was also relatable. It's also very, very relatable. Because, well, for me, I mean, it was very adorable. Starlight was really looking forward to having Sunburst over. She was really looking forward to them hanging out like they used to, and she was looking forward to them just being like the two of them. And she was just hoping for them to have some alone time, just be able to hang out like, just be able to hang out like they used to. But whenever Sunburst arrived, she began to see that Sunburst had things in common with her other friends as well. He was able to identify rocks and had a little bit of, I won't go as far as to say expertise, but he had some knowledge in that field. And he was also able to help Trixie with her magic. He was able to help Maud, and he was also able to hang out with Twilight as well. And Starlight began to feel left out because here Sunburst was hanging out with all of her friends and not her. She was beginning to feel left out, and she was beginning to feel that she didn't have as much in common with Sunburst anymore as what she thought. She was afraid that they were drifting apart, that they had spent so much time apart from each other, that their friendship was ending, that it was deteriorating. And she was afraid that she was losing really the best friend that she had. And although she has friends in Trixie, Maud, and even Starlight, there's like a very special connection with each friend that she has. It's not the exact same friendship, and honestly, that's something realistically portrayed here. Is you can have 2, 3 friends and your relationship with each of them is going to differ from each other. I mean, the relationship is not going to be the same. You are going to have a special connection with each and every one of them in a certain way. But there was a very special connection between Starlight and Sunburst, and she really wanted to hang out with him and it just be the two of them. But she began to see that he had other things in common with her other friends as well, and she was getting to the point that she was afraid that they weren't friends anymore like they used to, that they had drifted apart. And she was doing everything that she could. She was trying to do everything that she could to try to keep their friendship going, because she still wanted him in her life. She still wanted to be part of his. And that's why she created the spell. And she was, like I said, she was afraid that her friendship with him was deteriorating, that they had drifted apart, that they had grown apart. And like Twilight said, it can only happen if you allow it to happen. And a friendship, a relationship, relationship, they're very similar, because they're like a flower. You have to tend to it. It has to be watered. You have to take care of it. You can't just expect it to live on its own without you putting any effort forth. A friendship requires both parties. A relationship requires both parties to put forth effort. And if you both want to be friends, then if you really want to be friends, you'll do whatever you can to make it happen. But if you allow yourself to drift apart, then you're losing everything. That's not something I ever want to do. That's one of my worst fears right there, is losing a best friend. That's one of my worst fears. I would honestly rather die than for that to happen. And my best friend could vouch for that, because of how many times I've told them that my best friend could vouch for that, because of how many times that I've told them just randomly how much that I appreciated them. I was thankful for them, for what we had, and so my friend could vouch for that. But like I said, this was a really good, solid, and really true, and very true episode. And this really applies to life. And a friendship is not going to just, a relationship, they're not going to just take care of themselves. You have to put effort forth. Both parties have to put effort forth in order for them to work. Like I said, they're like a flower, or like a garden. It'll wither and die if you don't take care of it. But if you take care of it, if you look after it, if you nurture it, if you love it, if you give it the attention that it needs, it'll continue to flourish and grow and become beautiful. But if you just leave it alone and don't take care of it, ignore it, it'll just wither and die. And again, like I said, that's one of my worst fears right there. That is, this episode was honestly, it was, I don't have very many episodes that I can watch, and I can feel it gripping, I can feel it gripping me. But this is one of those episodes, just because of because of the relatability that I feel here, and just my own beliefs and emotions. And again, this was kind of hurtful to watch, not in a bad way. I mean, no, I adore this episode. I absolutely love this episode. But it's one of those moments whenever something is touching you in a way that is relatable to you. You can see the relatability there, and it begins, you can see that relatability, and it's to the point that it is very, it's kind of painful to watch, because you're afraid of what's going to happen. You're afraid of what's going to happen. And I was honestly really afraid that they were going to go with the message that sometimes people just drift apart. And I was so, I was honestly hoping that they would not go that route, because I did not want to see that happen to Starlight and Sunburst. I did not. I still wanted them to have a deep, meaningful connection with each other at the end. And I'm so, so thankful that that worked out that way. That was the message. that did happen. And there wasn't a deterioration of their friendship, of their relationship at the end. They were still close. And if anything, this was merely just a bump in the road. And that's natural, because even the strongest of friendships, you're going to have bumps in the road. You're going to have times whenever you encounter something, and you have to rely on each other. You have to help each other through a tough time. And you have to be there for each other. And like I said, a friendship requires understanding. It requires knowledge of each other, care, concern, truth, honesty. It requires you to be there for each other, to support each other. And Starlight and Sunburst, they wanted to do that for each other. And Starlight, like I said, Starlight wanted to hold on to that friendship. And I was so afraid that they were going to go with the message that sometimes ponies drift apart. But like I said, this was merely just a bump in the road for them. A bump that they overcame together. It was, and just like with any friends, I mean, you can't have a friendship and there not be a moment whenever you're going to have an argument, whenever you're going to disagree on something. But the key is to not let that affect you. The key is to not let that affect you. And a real friendship will be able to overcome that. If you turn away, and if you turn away not wanting to face the problems that you encounter, not wanting to overcome them, then you will lose that friendship. There won't be any supports. It's basically like a bridge with no supports. Nothing can cross it because it's not safe. It will collapse. But with strong supports, anything can cross that bridge. And it was a bump in the road for them. It didn't deteriorate their friendship. It didn't show that they had drifted apart. If anything, this was just another learning curve for them. They learned a little bit more about each other. And it was a moment of bonding. It was a moment of understanding that they had to realize about each other in order to overcome that bump in the road. But they both wanted to cross that bump together. And they wanted to make the effort. They each wanted to put the hoof forward to make the effort to overcome that bump, so that they could still be a part of each other's lives. Because what they had was too precious, and they didn't want to lose it. They wanted to keep it. They wanted to keep each other. And I absolutely love that. And again, this was just absolutely adorable. And again, they're still friends. If anything, to me, they're stronger because of this moment. Because they were able to overcome that bump, and now here they are. They're stronger, and they have more of an understanding about each other. And with friends, there's always, I mean, even if you know a lot about each other, there's always going to be another moment whenever you learn something about the other. Again, you're never going to, even if you can say, I know them like the back of my hand. Just like with the back of your hand, sometimes you can turn the back of your hand and you will see a crack in your skin. You will see a dimple. You will see a mole or a bump or something. There's no guarantee that it's always going to look the exact same. And so there's always something that you find out. But it's something that you have to do. And their friendship, Starlight and Sunburst, and that applies to real life. If your friendship is worth hanging on to, then you both need to put the effort forth to hold on to it. And Starlight and Sunburst did that. They put forth the effort because they wanted to hold on to each other. They wanted to hold on to what they had between them. And like I said, if anything, they're closer. And Starlight, I think, is also appreciative because Sunburst got along with her friends. He got along with her friends extremely well, and she now sees that they can all hang out together. Not just her and him alone, but she also understands now that he has things in common with her other friends. And I think she's appreciative of that too, that he's not like a loner. Like, he does have some other friends. It's not like he's this guy that don't really have any friends. That he's able to make friends, and I think I think she understands that now too, that she's appreciative that he's as kind and he's as kind-hearted and funny and easygoing as he is. He's able to get along with other people. And I think she sees that and understands that and appreciates that now. And I think it could be something that she also admires. Also, like, she possibly admires him more now because he does get along with people so well. And he's able to make friends with others. And she still got him in her life. Basically, like she still claims him as hers, but she sees that he can hang out with her friends, and so, like, she doesn't have to worry now about them hanging out or about there being any rifts or any negative emotions, that they can all just get along and hang out together. And I think she's appreciative of that now. And she still cares about him just as much. And she sees that they haven't drifted apart. Again, it was a bump in the road they had to overcome, but they overcame that bump. And because of it, they became stronger. And again, I absolutely love that. And again, this is so much like real life. Of course, there's more perspectives here to look at. Sunburst, he shows a great deal of intelligence, and it's cool because he has like a geeky, nerdy side to him, which is really fun. Like, he has this geeky, nerdy side to him, which is really cool. I can relate to that. Like, especially I think on the geeky side. But he's able to just have fun and let loose, but he also has an interest in other things as well. Like, he has interest in different fields, and it's not just one particular thing. And so he was able to, I think, Starlight saw that he had expanded, he had grown over time and had other interests as well. And I think in time as well, it will be, I mean, she understands that and sees that now. And like I said, it didn't show Sunburst to be kind of like a hermit. Like, he didn't really get along. He was kind of shy around other ponies. No, he was open. He was out there and just being himself. And again, it was really cool to see that. And it was really cool also to see him bonding with Starlight's friends, and to see them all just getting along and just hanging out together. And so now that circle, is completing. Because now, Starlight, now she is, besides Sunburst, she, is also friends with Twilight, with Maud, with Trixie, and now Thorax as well. And kind of Discord too. So, yeah, but it was interesting. There were other characters, of course, that Sunburst didn't really communicate with here. He didn't communicate with Thorax. He didn't communicate with Ember. He didn't communicate with Discord. He didn't communicate with any other members of the main six. He just communicated with the biggest parts of, the biggest and closest friends to Starlight, which is Twilight, Trixie, and Maud. And again, I really think this is really, really cool. This was a very sweet, very cute episode. And like I said, it's very much relatable. It's very much relatable. Now the thing is, of course, though, there are times whenever people can drift apart. And it's not something I am comfortable with talking about, but it's not something I want to say, but I have to say it. There are times whenever people drift apart, and sometimes you have no control over it. Sometimes somebody can just decide, you know what, I'm done with you, and it's beyond your control. And sometimes you can yourself begin to see that you just don't really have anything in common with someone anymore. And there's other people in my life that I have grown apart from. Uh, that People that I thought that I had a connection with at some point. And in all the other situations, I realized that I came to find out that they didn't want to put forth any effort to keep the friendship going. And whenever I saw that they weren't making any effort to keep the friendship going as well, I never made an effort. Because I don't believe in being the only one in a friendship, and I don't think anybody should. Like, I don't believe that you should be the only one in a friendship or a relationship putting a foot forward. If you're the only one that's making any effort, then there's no point in being in it. Both have to want to put forth the effort. Both have to want it. Both have to do what they can. They have to both put forth the effort. And like I said, I've been in that situation before whenever I've had people throw me down like a old sock. That I was like yesterday's technology, just get rid of me and trade me for something new. I've been in that situation before, and I know how it feels to have people whom you once trusted, people whom that you thought were your friends, turn their backs on you, and just you suddenly realize that you're no longer part of their lives, and they don't want you part of their life anymore. I know that feeling, and it hurts. It really hurts. And today I'm sort of split. There's a part of me that's fearful, like because of my past experiences, I'm fearful for the future. I'm always afraid of what is going to happen. And I try to put, like, I try to do what I can. I try to hang on. And because I don't want to lose anything precious to me. I don't want to lose anyone precious to me. And so but at the same time, I'm fearful of what's going to happen. And it's scary. It's scary. And like I said, I would rather, if I was given a choice between taking a bullet or losing a best friend, I'd easily take the bullet. Because if I lost someone close to me, I might as well be dead anyway, because it'll kill me anyway. But again, this is definitely one of my most favorite episodes of this season, because it's a very calm, very natural paced episode with the story. And again, there's different perspectives with the characters here, and I can understand everything. I can understand the perspectives of both Starlight and Sunburst. And I've been in that situation before as well. And again, I was very fearful watching this episode, because I was honestly afraid of what the outcome was going to be. And I'm very thankful that it had a happy ending, that it really did. Because life is a bitch. I mean, life don't always give you happy endings. And so I'm very happy that this episode did have a happy ending, and that they could have went more natural and have it be that, they had the story, well, sometimes you do drift apart, but that's not something I ever want to see. It's too hurtful. And I'm very happy that they did it the way that they did, and that they kept the story going. And that they did have the happy ending that they did. I'm very, very happy for it. And like I said, I really love this episode. It's sweet, it's cute, it's bittersweet in areas, of course. It's heart-tugging, but it does end on a happy note, and I'm so, so thankful for that. And I'm very, very grateful. And again, I love this episode. And again, I can relate to that. And the moral, of course, is that sometimes as you get older, at least this is my interpretation of it, sometimes as you get older, you will find other interests. Interests, you may drift out of current interests, drift into other interests that you have, but real friends will accept those interests, those differences. Real friends will continue to support each other and be there for each other. You have to have understanding. If you can't understand one another or don't want to make the effort, then you're not going to keep that friendship going. You have to want to understand each other, and you have to want to support each other, and you have to want to be there for each other. And sometimes sometimes you may think that you don't have as much in common with someone, but just because you might not have one thing in common anymore doesn't mean that you don't have things in common in general. And even if you lose one thing in common with someone, you may still find something new. And just because you may not have everything 100% in common with someone doesn't mean that doesn't mean you can't still be friends. Doesn't mean that there still isn't a friendship there. And that if you really want to keep the friendship going, you'll find something that you can agree on, that you can have fun with, that you can do together, something that you can have in common with. And real friendship is putting forth the effort to be there for each other, to support each other, and to just be each other's best pal. And yeah, you're going to have differences, you're going to have bumps in the road, but real friendship, you have to overcome those bumps. You have to want to overcome those bumps in order to keep going. Again, a relationship too, is like a flower, is like a garden. It won't grow on its own. You have to help it. You have to plant the seeds. You have to put forth the effort. You have to water it. You have to love it. You have to nurture it to keep it healthy, to keep it strong, to keep it beautiful. And this episode is a really good showing of that. It's a really good highlight of that. And I absolutely adore this episode. But going over a couple of the aspects for this episode here. Excited Starlight is adorable. Just plain and simple, she's adorable whenever she's excited. And again, Vinyl, DJ Palm 3, yeah, my girl's here. Just sitting there. I love those headphones, man. I really love those headphones of hers. Actually, I wish Hasbro... Did Hasbro license a set of those? Because I want a set of those headphones. And if I was just sitting there adorably with their headphones on, just listening to music, and really, really cute. And I also... and again, I think it's adorable how Starlight was just so excited about hanging out with Sunburst. Like, she just wanted some time together, just the two of them. Just the two of them. So something could happen. But, again, I don't know if it was the sound in the headphones or what. But during this particular moment, I don't know if anybody else heard that or not, but whenever it got to this particular moment for me, whenever Starlight was looking inside the train, I don't know, but there was like a really good echo that was going through the headphones at this particular moment, and it, like, there was like a sound, and it honestly, whenever I hear that, it kind of makes me think about the old Saturday morning cartoons, like ABC, Disney's One Saturday Morning. And if you remember, whenever you used to watch cartoons on Saturday morning, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but they had different sound. They had a different sound to them than they did throughout the rest of the week. Like ABC especially, it had a different sound than it did throughout the rest of the week whenever you watch cartoons. Like it had more of an echo to it, and in between characters talking, whenever things would get silent, you would hear this sort of like a blowing or like a whistling sound, and you would hear it through the speakers. That's what I heard here, and I love it. It takes me back to those old days of the Saturday morning cartoons. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I love it. And again, we got to see this adorable little hug. And again, that adorable little hug between Sunburst and Starlight. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it to death. I love it to bits. Now again, honestly, I can relate. Honestly, like watching Sunburst and Twilight talk about antiques. I have watched that show, American Pickers. I believe it's called American Pickers. Yep, American Pickers. Yeah, I watched that. I watched that. I got into that show, American Pickers, quite a bit recently, and I really have an appreciation for all this old antique stuff. So that's kind of what I thought of here with Starlight and Sunburst here. I could just imagine like somebody doing like a comic or like a artwork parody of American Pickers, like Equestrian Pickers, with Sunburst and Starlight in that. Sunburst and Twilight. But again, I honestly do have an appreciation for things like this. And honestly, I relate to Sunburst here because honestly, I wouldn't mind looking around at antiques like that as well. I mean, like, just the history of these old things. I mean, some people would consider them junk, but they're not. Like, each and every piece has a history. And so looking around here, there's all kinds of history, like this old map that was created. And so again, honestly, and like these beautiful chandeliers, again, pardon me, I really honestly like things like that. And so I could relate to Sunburst here. Again, this little moment, whenever Starlight makes a mention that the shop looks smaller on the outside, again, I don't know if that was a direct Doctor Who reference, but it definitely works for one. And like I said, I would love to see somebody do artwork of Sunburst as the Doctor and Starlight as his companion, and she could say that line, "It looks smaller on the outside." You know, instead of it's bigger on the inside, it's smaller on the outside. It's pretty much the same thing. But again, it just works. And like I said, I couldn't help it. I thought, yeah, he's been taking architectural design from Doctor Who. And whenever he makes a mention about this barrel deal and about hits a blind buy, I thought of blind bags. But honestly, I don't watch it honestly, but I have heard about that where people will. I remember seeing something on YouTube, and I think there was a TV show about it too, where people will buy. There's a program I think that comes on TV where people will buy these train cars, box cars, or truck trailers, just these big lots or storage units actually, and that nobody has any idea what stuff that are in them. And you might get something completely worthless, or you might actually get something completely rare. And I think it's really cool that they actually incorporated that into the show here with that reference to that. I mean, I know it's not a reference to that, but it is kind of a bit of a growing thing, it seems. And so I'm really glad that they put that in there. And I think that's really cool. And he didn't open it like in the beginning, and there was a few different things I was wondering what was going to go on here. And again, I think it's really adorable that besides being interested in magic, that Starlight is also kind of a bit of a geek herself, which is really cute. I absolutely love that. And again, we got these little, oh my gosh, these adorable moments with Starlight. Starlight was really at the top of her game with adorableness in this particular episode. Or that little moment whenever she realizes that they're going to play this I'm just going to say maybe Dungeons and Dragons thing. And this moment, whenever they're just hanging out together on the floor, just playing this game together, again, I freaking love this. Honestly, who doesn't love a good board game? Like, no joke. I would really enjoy. To me, that would be a party. Like that. To me, that would be something I would totally like to do. I would totally do is have like a few friends over and just have a board game night. That would be something I would totally do. Screw going to a tailgate party. Screw going out to some sort of bar. That's not my thing. My thing is put like a board game and just a board game, drinking non-alcoholic drinks and just having fun. That's my thing. That's my thing right there. Total geekdom. Total geekdom. That's my thing. Then that little moment, I couldn't help it. Whenever Starlight wakes Sunburst up, and it's very early. Again, I have a very, very wicked imagination. If this wasn't MLP, then, if there are any artists out there that would still do something like that, I don't know if there is. But, like, this cute thing where Starlight, I had this image go through my mind of Starlight at this point, like, jumping into the bed next to Sunburst, and settling down to go to sleep, and he's just lying there, like, beginning to sweat like crazy. His pupils are like dots, and he's like, well, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm getting more comfortable. And then also had this image, like, whenever he makes the mention, whenever she says it's very early, I had the image go through my mind of whenever, I had this image go through my mind. I couldn't help it. It was a joke that went through my mind. I thought to myself, Sunburst, it's early morning. She wants to see your morning wood. Yeah, I had that thought go through my mind. But again, there's just some faces here. I got some good screen caps that kind of go with some of the things there. But again, look at these faces. Look at these faces. These are the faces of adorable. And then that moment whenever he asks her if he says, could you get out of the room so that I could change? And she gets shy, she gets embarrassed about it, and she slowly backs out and closes the door. Again, like I said, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have minded to have just stood there at all. The introduction of Trixie here, I love this episode. I mean, I love this little introduction with Trixie, of Trixie being hanging around the tree, and she gets pretty much like William Tell here. Apple lands on her horn and gets impaled. And Trixie goes pretty much like William Tell. And then we got this little continuity thing where she pulls out a teacup. Very, very cool. And this moment, whenever Trixie was experimenting with the chains, my first thought that goes through my mind is, oh, she's going to, like, Trixie's probably just going to chain Starlight and Sunburst to a tree and then say, okay, I'm going to leave you two chained here and let you get along. Or I'm going to chain you two together, and, you know, like the gimmick where somebody, like, handcuffs themselves to someone accidentally, and then they have to go around through the show or the episode or whatever for a while handcuffed together. That's kind of what I thought she was going to do. Or a comical bit where she, like, chains Sunburst down, and then Starlight's like, now I can have my way with you. Again, I have a wicked imagination. But this little, like, honestly, I also thought that Trixie is basically Houdini here. Like, she's the Houdini kind of pony. And she tries to chain herself. And if I'm right, that was one of Houdini's tricks, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was chaining himself, wrapping a chain around himself and being dunked into a tank of water, and he had to, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I keep thinking like he had to escape the chain and get out of the water before drowning. I keep thinking. Now, continuing, of course, Trixie also had some really adorable episodes. I mean, really adorable faces this episode, too. This moment, whenever she was picking the cards as well, was another freaking adorable moment. And we also got to see we also got to see the mirror pool come back. And like I said, I wasn't sure where they were going to go with this episode at this point. I was honestly afraid that they were like Starlight was going to try to duplicate Sunburst, and that's what I feared. But then I had to check the time, and I saw there was like 8 minutes left in the episode, and I said, nah, that's not enough time for them to go with that plot. Fan art probably did that. Fan fiction probably also did that. Was afraid they were going to go with it here, but I can only imagine how fan art and fan fiction would take care of that. But again, it was interesting to run into Maud, and it turns out that her cave that she stays in was actually connected to to the mirror pool deal. Interesting. And of course, Starlight, Sunburst ends up. And again, whenever I first saw this particular scene, my first thought was, okay, they just discovered obsidian or the Nether, Minecraft reference. And another interesting gimmick here with Trixie was the concept that she used with her magic trick. She used fake legs for the concept of her being cut in half, to give that impression. Then Maud made that mention that she was funny. Yeah, that's honestly not a joke. That really is true. She really is funny. Just the things that she said before. Then they made this huge set of this, like a Dungeons and Dragons thing. And oh my gosh, this is cute. Twilight looks freaking adorable in that getup, as does Maud and Trixie. But just look at those little Twilight, like a little face just peeking out from that. Again, this was adorable. This was really cute. So Starlight uses her magic to create the trapdoor so that Sunburst could fall through. And again, this was really cute. And honestly, this was your basic roleplay thing, just making it into actual costumes and whatnot. Again, I freaking love that. Honestly, who wouldn't want to do that in real life? I freaking would. I would love it. Some really cute moments with Starlight and Sunburst, where there was this little moment, tiny moment, but it happened. And I have to catch it right here because it was a tiny moment. This moment, whenever Sunburst touches his hoof to Starlight, and she just gives them this little smile, this little appreciative, warm smile. It's cute. Again, it's subtle, but it's really cute, and I love it. And then you see Trixie, Starlight, or Trixie, Twilight, and Maud just all coming to see Sunburst off as well. And then everybody hugs, just happily smiling, and Maud just standing off to the corner. And then who is it that pulls Maud in but Trixie? Trixie grabs her and pulls her in like, come here, you. Get in on the hugs. Everybody just waves to Sunburst as they see him off. And then we get this interesting setup. The last thing where we see this book, this old book, and it has the shimmer. And I'm really thinking this is related to Star Swirl the Bearded, because you have stars, you have a swirl, and this little swirl down on the bottom kind of looks like a beard. That's probably not it, but you can see there's other books in here, and yeah, this is foreshadowing. This has some, I don't know what this is, but this is foreshadowing probably to episode 25 and 26. Or it could be foreshadowing for season 8. If it's a foreshadowing for episode 25 and 26, then it is a very quick foreshadowing, because, they just told about it one episode, and then boom, the very next episode, there it is. It would kind of seem to me, I'm not sure, but it would kind of seem too quick and too easy and too simple if it was revealed in the next episode or the episode after that. I'm thinking maybe it might be revealed in season 8. I'm hoping. But anyway, like I said, I really adored this episode. It's definitely one of my favorite episodes of this season. Probably one of my most favorite episodes of the series as well. It's a cute episode. It's it's very, very relatable. It's sweet. It's heartwarming. It's also heart-tugging. And again, it's just a really cute, very sweet, and very honest episode. And very, very true episode. And again, I love the story. I love the moral. And again, it was really great to see that play out with Starlight and Sunburst and Twilight, Trixie, and Maud. And again, it was very cute. It was very sweet. Very fun. And again, I absolutely love this episode. So again, to everybody, Hasbro, DHX, everybody that worked on this episode, thank you all so much for all the work and effort that you put into it. Thank you all. Thank you to the writers for writing the episode the way that you did. Thank you all to everybody for portraying the characters. Thank you all so much for just every amount of detail that you put into this episode. Thank you all so much for all the work and effort. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, most of us really, really appreciate it. But again, thank you all so much. And also to everybody watching as well, thank you all again for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.